Hello everybody, welcome to StraightA, Dawson here, and welcome to 2024, first day of the new year. It's a leap year too, so a lot of great things are going to happen from an extra day of this year, I'm sure. But Happy New Year everybody. Hope you all had a great Happy New Year's and of course holiday season. And now we're into a new start of the whole year. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be a lot of good things, good little resolutions I want to do. But speaking of resolutions, NFL teams this year will have to have some resolutions that they need to fulfill to really take themselves a little bit better, to make them improve themselves. That's what resolutions are all about. They're definitely not about breaking them either. So, so today we'll be talking about the 2024 resolutions of each of the NFL teams. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please leave a like down below, leave a comment down below and suggest anything to us that we could be doing on the channel. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm actually going to make one more video of this. I decided after yesterday's video of the 2023 regrets, I wanted to make a 2023 good things about each of the teams too, because I felt negative after that. I don't know, it was hard for me to really get a lot of negative things out about a lot of these teams, and I think there's a lot of positive that each of the teams did as well, and I want to highlight that. So I'll make this kind of a three-part series. I'll post that one a little bit later this week after we get through predictions and all that for this week, but I wanted to kind of acknowledge that and put it out there for y'all. But for now, we're going to get into 2024 resolutions. For the Saints, I think it's finally time. I think one of their biggest resolutions they need to accomplish here. I think they have an overall okay team. They have an overall aging team, and I think they need this year to put in place some of the younger talent and younger cornerstones of their team. They really don't have many younger cornerstones on their team. The running back is older, their quarterback is older, a lot of their defensive side of things are older. Let's get some cornerstone pieces, similar to what the Houston Texans did. Look at that, that's a sound from the NFL ESPN. That was really professional. They need pieces, cornerstones of their team that they can build off of the future. The Rams just did it this year with Kyren Williams and Puka. I guess Kyren Williams relevant last year, but you know what I'm saying. These teams are starting to build around pieces that are younger. They're on a rookie contract. In the next 3 or 4 years, they may not be necessarily winning the Super Bowl, but they're putting in place younger players that are going to be the cornerstone of their team. So find those players, whether it is somebody in the draft, whether it's like third rounder, fourth rounder, fifth rounder, first rounder, whatever. Saints just need to find those cornerstone pieces and draft somebody that's like a Will Anderson Jr., like a Jalen Carter, like a, not necessarily to the caliber of that, but like somebody who's talented enough to build around for the foreseeable future. They need those cornerstone pieces. Everything else about the team is fine. If I want me to give you another resolution, I think that right now their division is very weak, and I think the Saints with a couple more, I think the Saints probably of the teams in their division possibly, I should say the Falcons probably. The Saints should focus on getting to building off for the future. I don't think they're in rebuild mode. I think they're in a pretty good transitional phase where they have a lot of good cornerstone pieces of the team, but they're aging, and they don't nearly have the talent that the Rams did when they won the Super Bowl. So they need to start planning for the future, find those cornerstone pieces, and play the playoffs as they can, but try to do something with their team for the foreseeable future. With the Dolphins, theirs is going to be pretty simple. They need to win a Super Bowl. And I'll say this. I'll give them 2 seasons because I think this team is easily capable of winning a Super Bowl in the next 3 seasons. So overall, their team is fine. They need to focus on making let's say a playoff run, making a suitable playoff run. And what I mean by that is proving that they can make it to the level. Making it to the divisional round is going to do their team wonders. So that's going to be the realistic resolution. They need to focus on getting through to the divisional round. If they can make it to the divisional round, it's showing progress from previous year. If they can make it to the conference championship, amazing. If they make it to the Super Bowl, even better. But their team is still relatively new. I mean, Tyreek Hill still got a couple years on his contract. Jalen Waddle still got another year on his rookie contract. And Tua, he had to sign Tua on the offseason, so that's going to be a resolution for yourself too. But overall, build that team to a level where it's able to make a Super Bowl run. If this team right now is capable of making a Super Bowl run, then building the defense a lot more, and that's honestly another resolution. They have a lot of resolutions they really need to do, but the resolution is to show that this team is a playoff caliber team, like a proper playoff caliber team, like a proper Super Bowl contender, which I think they are, but they need to show it. And building defensive pieces on the offseason is going to put them that one step forward to make the Super Bowl. That's more a 2025 resolution, more than 2024, but build the defense and show that right now, the team that's capable right now of making a good playoff run. The Ravens, I think that in offseason, they need to get more weapons. They need to get a solidified wide receiver 1 for Lamar. OBJ, Zay Flowers, all doing fine. They're good. Of course, you'll have Mark Andrews back in the offseason, but you need a solid number 1 receiver for Lamar. And honestly, I'm going to give you another resolution of win the Super Bowl. Right now, this team is in the best I've seen it in a while. Since they started destroying my Broncos back in like 2015, 2014. I have not seen the Ravens this committed to winning a Super Bowl till now. They should win the Super Bowl this year. They are doing really, really well. So they should focus on that. But on the offseason, give Lamar a proper wide receiver one, whether it's some free agent signing or drafting. The Bengals, freaking protect your QB. And then I'm gonna give you a simple one: find two offensive line pieces. Get rid of T. Higgins. Okay, let him go off in the offseason and sign some proper offensive linemen. Get him 2 cornerstone offensive linemen. And I'm not saying one, I'm saying 2. Whether it's a rookie and a veteran, a rookie and a rookie, whatever. Find 2 very high prospect people, put them on that offensive line, and protect Joe Burrow. Simple and to the point. Broncos, there's a lot of things I can say about you, but your number one is figuring out this QB situation. Are you going to get rid of Russ? Sure, go ahead. Figure out who are you sticking with for the foreseeable future. Give them a couple of years. Whether it's Jarrett Stidham, whether it's somebody you sign in the offseason, or whether it's some, draft one. I don't care. Whatever. Figure out your QB situation. If you want to put a Band-Aid on the situation and grab a Kirk Cousins that's proven, it's not really going to fix anything, but find somebody you're going to go with for the next few years. Honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and take one step forward. Find a younger QB that you can build off of for the foreseeable future, whether it's in the draft or not. Don't care. Have somebody you can build that QB room around. Because right now, the team is only getting weaker on defense. The team is only getting weaker in offensive weapons and offensive line. It's only getting weaker. Just go ahead and reset a little bit. Find a cornerstone QB to build around. This team is still very capable right now, and you can start repairing as long as you have that captain under center. Simple. Giants. Man, there's a few things, but I think the main thing is figure out Daniel Jones, and I think, that's almost like a very broad resolution, but the Giants have to figure out with Daniel Jones. They have 3 QBs in the situation right now. Tyrod looked okay. He looked like a Geno Smith, like a little bit less than. Tommy DeVito looks fine. Daniel Jones looks good, or looked fine for a few games he did. Well, actually, no, he looked horrible a few games he did, but he looked good last year. So figure out that QB situation. You have enough stuff. There's not really point getting you a weapon. I guess you could get a weapon to prove Daniel Jones. Either way, lock down whether it's Daniel Jones or bust. This offseason, that's your goal. Saying, are you going to move on from Daniel Jones or not? Make that decision this offseason and say, all right, this is the way we're going to go. This is how we're going to build a team around. Because you have Saquon. I think he signed to a 2-year contract, so you have 1 more year with him. The defense is fine enough, and the offensive line is fine enough to build a couple pieces around it, and you should have a fine team. Simple. Vikings. Man, I think you should focus on winning your division. I think this team right here, I think the defense is only getting a little bit better as time goes on. Build a couple pieces around it, but there's nothing glaring that needs. Weapons are fine. Kirk Cousins at QB, great. Offensive line, fine enough. Just tweak it a little bit. Vikings, you need to win your division. I know injuries got you really hurt this season, but you need to focus on winning your division. It's in a very prime point for you to take it because the Bears, they're still starting to rebuild, so they're still a little bit more vulnerable. Lions, they're very vicious and very good, so that they're going to be your biggest competitor. But the Packers are still trying to figure themselves out. Until these other half your division is figuring themselves out, while you feel like you're about figured out. So you're just basically competing with the Lions. Win your division next year, and obviously you might not be able to do it in 2024, but get into a situation where you'll be able to win your division. Rams. Man, this is a tough one for you guys because y'all have a really, really good season. I just think you're a couple pieces away. But at the same time, if I say you're a couple pieces away, you're going to gradually lose pieces as you're fixing them because you're so old. And I would love to say Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford looks good. I think you need to start preparing for your Aaron Donald defensive replacement. I think Aaron Donald is great. I think he's going to be able to do another year or two just as well as he is. But you need to find another person to support Aaron Donald, whether it's a secondary leader or a defensive line leader. Find somebody who can be that defensive captain along with Aaron Donald. Somebody that Aaron Donald can help boost up to another level. A young prospect. That's your goal for 2024. Find that defensive person that's able to lead your defense. Your offense looks great. I have no complaints about your offense at all. Maybe offensive line's a little bit weaker, but that's even a very big nitpick. Find that defensive captain to help Aaron Donald. Simple. Bucs, man, everybody expected you to be shit this year, and you're showing that you're really, really good. I'd say that you need to extend Baker. That's your resolution for 2024. I think you're in a weird spot where you can't rebuild, but you also can't win right now. So figure out that and just re-sign Baker. go for your division and just build a team around. There's no glaring issues. Offensive line's good. Defense has been playing well. Secondary help maybe needs a little bit, but overall, just extend Baker. Keep that team the way it is. Keep the weapons that you have. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, I still believe have another year or two. Just extend Baker. Simple. Lions, man, you guys need to make it to the conference championship. And for most of these teams, I'm kind of being a little bit more realistic. Like Ravens, I believe, are in the place where they need to win the Super Bowl. Dolphins, I believe, are in a place where they can wait to win the Super Bowl if they need to. Obviously, they can extend their, I'm not saying stop at the divisional matchups, but they can go further than that. But I'm keeping it realistic for them this year, too. Similar to Madden, when you're going to say make playoffs or win Super Bowl, you're keeping it realistic if you're only going to make the playoffs, but you wouldn't mind winning the Super Bowl. So, either way, Lions, dead honest truth, make it to the conference championship. The reason I'm not saying win the Super Bowl is because I think I've seen too many weak points on this team to say they're going to be able to beat some of the top teams in this league. I know they almost beat the Cowboys. They could probably beat the Eagles. They could probably beat the 49ers in any given game. But realistically, in a playoff run where you get to play team after team after team after team, let's make it to the conference championship, and that's going to be a big win. Simple. Bears, you need to, I hate to kind of use this one again, figure out your thing with Justin Fields. Figure out whether he's the guy or not. You have the number one pick in this draft. Use that pick to either get so much draft capital to be able to support Justin Fields, or use that pick to replace him. One of the two options. You have such a good team. Your defense is playing well. Add a couple more pieces there. A couple more offensive line pieces. Maybe another receiver around Justin Fields, and you'll be great. But you got to figure out whether Justin Fields is your guy. That's your resolution. 49ers, stay healthy. Simple to the point. I would, honestly, I would probably even go further to say you need to win the Super Bowl too. You're the NFC team that should win the Super Bowl, but you're also young enough to maybe be able to win it in the foreseeable future. So I'm not saying that maybe it's, you could win it in a year or two, but you're also in a prime position to win it now. I say just win it now. If not, just stay healthy. Just keep your team healthy. As long as that team is healthy, you're going to be able to dominate for the next couple of years. Just keep it that simple. Eagles, get your offensive and defensive coordinators, replace them. Be done with them. Get them out. I think Nick Sirianni is really good, and I think he can build around that team in general, but he needs new coordinators. Simple to the point, this year has been really disappointing for the caliber the Eagles played last year, and I think it's just time to replace them. The Las Vegas Raiders, blow up the team. No, I'm kidding. Am I, though? No, blow up the team. Go in rebuild mode. It's time. I'm saying this is your divisional rival. Blow up the team, reset, and figure out what you're going to do. Get some trade capital for Devontae Adams. Figure out your QB situation. Get somebody else new in there completely. Maybe keep Max Crosby. I think he's young enough to be a cornerstone piece of that team. But otherwise, blow up that team. Figure out what you're going to do, and get some younger pieces, and just start preparing for the next season. Start preparing for 2025. That's what you really need to do. Because realistically, you still have a team that's capable of winning like 8-9 games. But realistically, if you want to win the Super Bowl, let's go ahead and reset. Blow it up. Packers. Jordan Love. I hate to keep on using figure out Jordan Love situation. I'd say find Jordan Love a veteran wide receiver in free agency. Trade back for Devontae Adams or something. I don't care. Do something to figure out a number one receiver properly for Jordan Love. He's playing with very young players who have very big talent, but when you have a new player at QB and a new player at receiver, it sometimes doesn't work out too well. Your defense is fine. I think your offensive line is fine. Overall, you need to support Jordan Love. I think we've seen enough flashes from him to be the guy, especially if you're going to keep him for another year. You're not in a situation to really get another QB. So stick for Jordan Love for another year. Get him a wide receiver one, a proper one. Commanders, fire Ron Rivera. I will say this until you fire him. Fire Ron Rivera. Improve your stadium a little bit, please. Cardinals. Put him down here. Cardinals, I think you have Kyler Murray. I think you have a good team there. I think just prepare to be disappointed for 2024. I'm not saying this is going to be a bad 2024. I think there's a lot of things you can do, but your team's a far step away from what used to be, even just 2 seasons ago. Just prepare for a disappointing 2024 and just commit to the rebuild. Right now, you're doing great. You're in a prime position to be in a rebuild spot. Just stick to the rebuild. Maybe get to 6-7 wins next season just so you can feel a little bit more confident. It still gets you a pretty high pick next year, and then 2025 will be your year. I promise you. So Pittsburgh Steelers, make the playoffs. I know you be a playoff contender is what I'm going to say. Next season, I want you to be a playoff contender. You have the coordinators for it. You have the coach for it. And I know people shit on Mike Tomlin, but he's such a good coach. He gets you to 9-8 by default. Build yourself to a team that's just not 9-8. That's not just going to barely make the playoffs. I know you're in a position to make the playoffs this year. I don't want you to make the playoffs. There's always a couple teams that make the playoffs that don't necessarily deserve it. And there's a couple teams that are in the AFC that are probably going to make the playoffs, and you're one of them that just don't deserve it. Be a playoff contender next year. You have good receivers. They may be young, but they're good receivers. The offensive line is decent. The defense is amazing. Keep that all intact. I don't care what you do with Kenny Pickett. He's sometimes good, he's sometimes bad. Mitch Trubisky's sometimes good, sometimes bad. Mason Rudolph sometimes good, sometimes bad. Love for you to get a new quarterback in general, but I don't feel like you're going to do that. You have the pieces. Train up Kenny Pickett. Train up somebody and make that playoff push. You can be a team that's able to make the playoffs and be a contender for it. You have all the pieces in place. Actually become a playoff contender. And this is where I'm going to come in big handy. I want you to go 10-7 comfortably. Like, be in a position to go 10-7 comfortably with a possibility of going 11-6. That's what I want to see from the Pittsburgh Steelers by the end of next year. That's what I want to see from y'all. I want y'all to have the potential saying this could be an 11-win team. I want that. You don't have to be a number 1 seed. Be an 11-win team. Simple. Bills, I think your Super Bowl run is very much closing, and I don't know if you'll have another season after this, because I think if you saw the start crumbling down a little bit. You need to make the Super Bowl this year. I think if you make the Super Bowl this year, it gives you enough confidence going into next year. Obviously, win the Super Bowl if you're there. Obviously, do it. But I'm not going to go all that way. Make it to the Super Bowl. Finally get that dream you've been pursuing and give yourself that opportunity. Give yourself that opportunity. And that will build your confidence up as a franchise and hopefully be able to put yourself in a position to win more games in the next year and make the Super Bowl once again. Your timetable's closing. I've been saying it for a year now, but it's starting to close real soon. Real soon. Atlanta Falcons, get rid of Arthur Smith, or at the very least, utilize your team members, utilize your young talent, build around them. And honestly, you could say, get a new QB. I think that's whatever. Desmond Ritter's fine. Desmond Ritter's honestly fine when he's able to use the people around him. When he's able to utilize Kyle Pitts and utilize Drake London, let them cook a little bit. Get them to high receiving seasons. Let Bijan run. It's just crazy how much they're not being utilized. And I wish I had a proper, hey, do this. This is what you need to do in the offseason. Build the team scheme around those 3 offensive pieces. Your wide receiver 1, your tight end 1, your running back 1. Simple. You have a great defense. You are capable of, honestly, I'll take it even a step forward. Comfortably win your division. And comfortably is you have a 1 or 2 win gap in between them, your division the whole year. You have kind of like the Jags had for the most of the season. Keep it like the Jags for the first half of the season. Don't do what they are doing in the second half. Keep a 1 or 2 win gap between you and your other divisional counterparts. Be the clear favorite in the division. Clear. Simple. Seahawks, let's move on from Geno. Let's start building a plan around finding someone other than Geno. Whether it's a young QB that can sit behind Geno for a year. Geno's still fine enough to play for another year, but he's had a miracle run. He's done well, but it's time. You have a great team. It's starting to age on defense, but your offense is starting to still look good. Let's find a situation where you can give a younger QB a chance and move forward. Patriots, for one, don't fire Bill Belichick. Number 2, find your QB. You have a good top pick. Find your QB of the future. Simple. Browns, if Joe Flacco's willing, give him another year. Give him another year. I think you are in a prime position to make a playoff run, or a proper playoff run, or if not a Super Bowl run this playoff season. I don't have any expectations for you. So if you win 1 game in the playoffs, then very, very good. Extend Joe Flacco if he's willing. Keep him for 1 more year. And give yourself the opportunity to maybe either be in a great Super Bowl push or give yourself the opportunity to figure out a QB situation, because Deshaun Watson's not it. Houston Texans, you know what? Next year, I want you to win your division. You are going to be properly in place to win your division. Easy. Kansas City Chiefs, let's find a wide receiver 1 in the offseason for Patrick Mahomes. Let's find a proper wide receiver 1 and start building the plan around not relying on Kelsey the whole time. No, Rashee Rice might be it. And if you can develop him into a wide receiver 1 and find a good wide receiver 2 that's a suitable one, perfect. That works too. Cowboys, man, you're similar to the Bills. I think you're like the Bills of a couple years ago. I think your timetable's gonna not close in foreseeable future, but I feel like you got a couple years. Let's go ahead and prove the haters wrong. Make the Super Bowl. Make the Super Bowl, and that way you can show people hey, we're capable of making this thing. Heck, we might be even capable of winning this thing. Make the Super Bowl. I feel like you're easily. Honestly, I don't think you can make the conference championship in a hot minute. If you just make that, that'd be good. But you have the team in place for the next couple of years. find that you can be able to make that playoff push. Show people that you're able to win these important games in the playoffs. Simple. Chargers, you already did half of it in firing Brandon Staley, but I think it was too little too late for the team. I think Brandon Staley held you back during your prime points for a lot of your players. You have Justin Herbert. Let's start resetting a little bit. Let's dial back the age on some of the offensive players. Defense should be okay-ish for foreseeable future. Offensive line's fine enough, but your weapons on offense start to get a little bit in age. I think they're getting past the prime point. Let's maybe trade off of them for a little bit and grab some younger receivers, younger players, and maybe keep like Keenan Allen, maybe keep Mike Williams. Keep somebody who's a veteran on there, but still trade away from the other offensive weapons, maybe a defensive piece too, and build around that offense just a little bit more. That way you give your new coach something to work with. New York Jets, let's get some offensive line help. I think that's something that's underrated, been hurting. I think that's the one piece that's really holding them back from being a good team, besides QB, of course. But Aaron Rodgers will be back next season, so for one, keep him healthy with offensive line help. But just find one good offensive lineman this offseason, veteran or not. Carolina Panthers, go above 5 wins. Get to 6 wins. Show that you have something in this team. Because I feel like there's pieces on this team that are good, that can develop into something good. Maybe Bryce Young will pan out. I'm not too sure. Let's get to 6 wins. Show people that you're capable of being a good team for the future. Kind of how the Bears did. The Bears are really shit, and they kind of ended up like almost like a 6-win team. Do something like the Bears. Follow that track a little bit. You already have your QB of the future, hopefully, if he pans out next year. Let's get to 6 wins. Tennessee Titans. Move on from your older players, man. Move on from just trying to win your division, stay relevant within the Texans and the Jags. They will have a great team for the foreseeable future. Let's just go ahead and concede that battle. You're barely able to keep up with the Colts. Let's go ahead and concede the battle and move on and rebuild. Become the rebuild of that division. Colts, keep Anthony Richardson healthy and figure out what you want to do with him. I think giving him a proper year will be great. Figure out what you want to do with him. Give him help. Basically, just give Anthony Richardson help, whether it's a new wide receiver or new offensive line pieces. One of those two things. I don't really have much to critique on you because I think your defense is fine, your running backs are fine. So give Anthony Richardson his help and figure stuff out. And finally, Jags. Man, I don't even know how you collapse so hard, but I think it's all due to your defense. I think your offense got weakened and your defense didn't keep up with the slack that the offense had to put for a little bit. I think Trevor Lawrence getting hurt and playing to less caliber than he used to, or not used to, but than he was, is hurt the offensive lot. So I want to say, get a cornerstone defensive piece to support Josh Allen. Give him the other side of the edge to get a lot of rush support. I think the secondary is fine enough, I guess, but a secondary piece, honestly, maybe I'll change that. Find a great cornerstone piece, like a great secondary piece to help Josh Allen on that defense, and that'll be good. I think that's a good resolution. I try to keep them a little bit more specific this time in terms of, hey, you should accomplish this. And for many of those teams, it did cop-outs, but I think a lot of these were really important steps for them to become a really good team next year. Simple and to the point, guys. Hope it's been a great 2024 for y'all, first day of 2024. Enjoy the video. Enjoy the 2024 year, and join us on StraightA to another great year of this channel. Obviously, we've only been a channel since September, but it's already been a great 3 months. Let's make it another great 12 months of 2024. StraightA Dawson, out.